So here, this is a little bit different, right? Basically, what I'm showing you is, basically here, we're going to be given an angle, okay? And not only are we given an angle, we know one of the side lengths. We know one of the side lengths, right? In this case, we know A. We're going to obtain the other side lengths. That's what we're going to do. So first, we're going to get B. I mean, theoretically, you could get C using B and A because, you know, we have Pythagorean's theorem. But let's make this fun and only use trig. So for B, okay, how are we going to get that? Well, let's see. Notice we're given A is 2 and theta we're given is 50 degrees. I don't know if this picture is drawn to how do I say this? So that this angle really does measure to be 50 degrees, but hopefully you get the idea though. Notice that B, that side is opposite the angle, right? It's opposite the angle, okay? All right. Now, okay, it's opposite the angle. We know 2 is the adjacent side, right? So I know you can see it from here, but we basically are dealing with opposite and adjacent, okay? Well, what trig function deals with opposite and adjacent? Yes, I know it's right here, but how did I know it was tangent? Well, remember, tangent is opposite over adjacent. The only trig function that deals with those, with opposite and adjacent at the same time, is tangent. So tangent of 50 degrees, we're going to use tangent. Excuse me. So tangent of 50 degrees is opposite over adjacent. Opposite, adjacent. So tangent of 50 degrees is B over 2. Okay? Tangent of 50 degrees is B over 2. Now, what do? We have to figure out what B is, right? But that's actually pretty easy. Actually, you know what? Let me draw it in here. I wasn't going to draw it in, but I think I should. To go from tangent of 50 degrees equals B over 2, how would you get B? You just multiply both sides by 2, right? You know, see if I can draw it in. That's why I miss writing on a board in class. But basically, if you multiply both sides by 2, these are going to cancel. And we get this. And it's better to have the unknown on the left side, right? So because of that, we have B equals 2 times tangent of 50 degrees. Okay. But what is tangent of 50 degrees? Remember, how do you actually get this? You want to make sure you're in degree mode. I know the what do you call it, the calculator on the iPhone can, if you turn it on its side, you can get the trig functions there. I also know that Desmos has a, what do you call it, a calculator built into it. You could also do that. But you want to make sure you're in degrees, though. If you're not in degrees, you're not going to get this answer. Now, once we know this, we plug it in. So we're doing 2 times this. And we end up with this. Now, of course, I'm rounding this to 2 decimal places, which is why we get this. Okay. So that's part A. Before I go on to finding C, are there any questions about this? Okay. Actually, let me just say this also, but well, yeah, let me say it. We actually can figure out this unknown angle here, because we know if you add up the angles of a triangle, you have to get 180 degrees. So we know this is 90, this is 50. This angle would have to be 40 degrees. So if you wanted to use 2, so using 2 to get B, you could actually use this angle if you wanted to. But then the trig function will be different though. Actually, no, wait. Never mind, I take that back. That'll work. Although in this case, actually, you would still be using tangent, so. Okay, but you could use this angle though. I thought it would change the trig function. It was something that just came into my head now, but it turns out you would still use tangent. You would just have tangent of 40 degrees would be 2 over B. Okay, so we'll just stick with this angle. So hope that made sense what I just said. Anyway, let's get C now. Okay, let's get C. Let me just see some. It's too much. Okay, hope there's not too much. Is there too much background noise? For anyone? No, there isn't. Okay. Oh boy. Oh jeez. Okay. Sorry guys. Let me see something. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, turned it down. I got a little nervous because they were playing music. Okay. So all right. Anyway, I think they heard me. Okay. Sorry about that. It's my neighbors. Okay. Anyway, so now we want to get C, right? C is the hypotenuse, and 2 is the adjacent side, right? So we have hypotenuse and adjacent, hypotenuse and adjacent, okay? Hypotenuse and adjacent. Now the question now we want to know is, what can we use? What trig function can we use to get that? Well, I know it's down here. I know it's down here, but if we look at SOHCAHTOA, right? What can we use? Well, the only trig function that deals with both, okay, adjacent and hypotenuse is cosine. Is cosine. Cosine is the only one that deals with both of them. Okay? So because of that, we have cosine of 50 degrees. So we have cosine we're going to use. Now cosine of the angle then is adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine of 50 degrees is 2 over C. As you can see here. Now we can figure out what C is. Okay? Now how do we do that? Well, we're going to have to do a little bit of algebra. Not much though, just a little bit. Okay? Just a little bit. Now, what we can do then is multiply both sides by C. And that's what I do to get to the next one. So what we do is we have C, right, times C. So we're multiplying both sides by C. And why does that help us? Because this is going to cancel. This will cancel. And so since those cancel, that's why we get this over here. That's why we get that. Now, are we done yet? Well, not quite, because remember, we want to solve for C. So let me just erase actually what I just did. Come on, there we go. All right. Okay. So now from here, we want to get C. So let's get cosine of 50 degrees out of there. So we can divide both sides by cosine. Let me see if I can write this. Oh boy. So we divide both sides by that. Right? Now, how does that help us? Well, it helps us because now we have C all alone on the left. So we get C is equal to, so we get C is equal to 2 divided by the cosine of 50 degrees. 2 divided by the cosine of 50 degrees. Okay? So that's what we get here. And now we can get our answer because cosine of 50 degrees turns out to be about 0.6428. 0.6428. So cosine 50 degrees is that. Again, you can get that from the calculator. You just want to make sure you're in degree mode. So C then is about 2 divided by this. And by direct calculation, you get this. But remember, you want to round to 2 decimal places, mostly because I said 2. So we end up with about this. So that's what this is equal to. Okay? Good. Are there any questions on this? Okay. Let me just stop the recording.